So hello my dear friends, welcome back, welcome to your channel Cooking Astrology. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for subscribing my channel and liking my videos. Thanks a lot. So let's continue our long journey, our series of planets through 6th house of Navamsa Chart in Vedic Astrology. And in this particular video, let's try to understand Mars placement in the 6th house of your D-9 chart and what are going to be the results, whether positive, negative and even certain karmic results that are associated with this Mars placement. Let's try to understand in this video. Before actually deeply diving into the results that are associated with Mars, first of all, let's try to decode the 6th house of the D9 chart. Now, 6th house is going to play a very important role as far as the spiritual progression is concerned. If you want to understand the amount of spiritual progression in your life or any sort of relationship, any sort of marriage in your life have the capacity to give you something from the spiritual perspective or not. Even if you want to study whether your partner is going to contribute something spiritually towards your life or not, that part is actually seen through the 6th house. This is also the house which represents a bondage. Bondage simply means bandhan. So bondage can be of any kind. It may be bondage with someone for certain duration of time. It may be you are doing a job with some organization. So that also represents some bondage that you need to actually play your part up there. It may be the bondage with your siblings also, bondage with parents, any sort of bondage with your life partner, with your loved ones. So bondage in Vedic astrology is also seen through the 6th house. Apart from this, any sort of health, disease aspect. Now that is not the health and disease which is present inside you, but specifically inside your partner also. Have you seen in certain situations or certain cases, one partner is going to suffer because of the health issues of the second partner? So why that is happening? 6th house is going to give the answers of these questions. Even if the maximum number of planets in Vedic astrology, if they are posited in the 6th and the 12th axis of your D9 chart, then it also shows the karmic knots are actually going to be present up there. Now, in order to study what kind of a karmic knots that are going to be between the 6th and 12th, you need to analyze properly the planets that are actually posited in this axis. Now, first of all, whenever the Mars is actually going to come into the 6th house, this is going to offer some sort of a value and security, and that is the number one aim and goal of the Mars. In the initial stages of your life, specifically before the maturity age of 28, this is going to give a different result, and after the age of 28, this is going to give a totally different results. Now, until and unless Mars is not fully matured in the chart, as you know, Mars mature at the age of 28, this have the capacity to create a lot of breakages in the relationship aspect. One relationship is failing, second is failing, third is failing. So this have the capacity to actually take you into the different kind of relationships, and all that relationships have the capacity to give certain level of experience into your life. Now, whether that experience have the capacity to convert you towards the spiritual aspect of the life, or whether that have the capacity to create some destruction in your life, that part purely depend over the dignity of this planet. If Mars is very well posited, so very strong in the 6th house, this have the capacity to take everything in the positive side. Because malefic, specifically the Mars and Saturn, in the 6th house, they want to prove something. And that is where you will see the major shift in their life is going to be happening after the age of 28. And that is where the professional success is actually going to become the main goal and the main achievement factor for this Mars. Because the initial setbacks with this Mars have the capacity to convert them into some different and the positive sort of the urja. Even if, for example, your Mars is in conjunction with some other planets, okay, and there are cluster of planets that are in the conjunction with Mars in the Navamsha Kundli, and directly opposite also in the 12th house, if there are more planets are up there. Now, this is actually going to create certain bondages inside your life. Now, if you want to study from which area these bondages are actually coming in your life, pay attention towards Mars placement in the D1 chart. You need to just pay attention towards the two most important zodiac signs which are ruled by Mars. First is the sign of Aries and second is the sign of Scorpio. Look in which houses these zodiac signs are falling. Suppose you are a Libra ascendant, so zodiac sign of Mars is going to fall in the 2nd and the 7th house. So it means the bondage is going to come through family. It may be your gains also. Money can also create bondage up there. 7th house, business, partnerships, and even this is the house of your life partner, spouse as well. So Mars is going to create a bondage from that particular area. In the similar manner, the planets that are in conjunction with Mars also represents the bondages, the things which are attached with you. Suppose Mars is in conjunction with the 5th house lord, that is your children. And suppose to be more surety, the Rahu and Ketu axis is also involved in the 6th and the 12th. It may be Rahu, Ketu and Ketu or Rahu. Then this is going to create the halting factor into the spiritual progression of your life. But that is actually not going to be a permanent thing with this Mars with more and more malefics. It totally depends over the dignity of Mars in both the horoscopes, because sometimes the maturity age of the planet have the capacity to decode these karmas. Apart from this thing, when you go to the matchmaking part, like compatibility analysis with your life partner, so we tend to analyze the different factors in Vedic astrology, like your emotional compatibility between both of you, love compatibility, sexual compatibility, childbirth analysis, after marriage analysis, spiritual compatibility. So here with the 6th house, you need to study the spiritual compatibility. Whether you are contributing something spiritually in your life or whether your partner is contributing spiritually into your life is seen through 6th house. Because if you look from the 12th house perspective in the Navamsha Kundli, 7th house is actually going to become the 1st house of your partner. I've already made that videos, you can check out that videos. So from that 7th house that is becoming the 1st house of your partner, the 6th house is actually going 12 places away. And 12th house represents that sort of a combined spiritual aspect, like whether both of you have the capacity to spiritually grow into your life or not. And that is where at the time of matchmaking, you need to analyze the 6th house of both of the natives. If more malefics are actually present up there, it means both the individuals or both natives are going to be more financial savvy. And then this have the capacity to create a lot of negative impact over the health part also. Whereas on the other hand, if one is having positive and certain second partner, your husband or wife is having some positive and negative matches are up there, and this have the capacity to create the balance in that axis. Because this is also the house which have the capacity to actually create the deciding place. Have you seen certain couples after immediately getting married? So the next question is going to be, okay, so now we are married, so where we are going to stay actually? I'm doing my job up there, my partner is working here. So is there a possibility whether we are going to combine at one place, maybe buying a real estate, buying their first home and these kind of decisions? So this with this Mars, this triggering point is going to be specifically at the age of 28, or even if the Mars is coming in the Antardasha. Antardasha is the planetary timing. So if Mars is coming up there, this is actually going to create the indication up there. Because if this Mars, for example, in conjunction with the 12th house lord from the D-9 chart I'm talking about, or even the 9th house. So 9th and 12th house represent something related to foreign land, foreign travel, permanent settlement or temporary. So Mars in that 6th house have the capacity to decide the place after you being getting married. So it means you are not actually going to decide the place where you are going to stay. Sometime depending over your future spouse, planetary alignments, this have the capacity to decide where you are going to actually stay into your life. Now there is one more aspect which is specifically connected with Mars, and that is the aspect of Tantra actually. Now T-A-N-T-R-A, Tantra or Tantra. Now this Mars actually have the capacity to get involved more towards the spiritual sciences also, like the Vedic astrology, numerology. Although Mars is a technical planet, but with certain conjunctions of Mars, or Mars if it is getting dissolved into the watery zodiac sign, or having some prominency of planets posited in the Pisces, Cancer and in the Scorpio Navamsha, then the prominency in the water, and if for example the Rahu and Ketu axis is also prominently posited, and there are certain Vargottama planets. Vargottama similarly simply mean the same placement in the D1 and in the D9 chart, same zodiac sign the planet is posited. Now in that cases Mars have the capacity to actually incline towards the Tantra Gyan also, gaining not only spiritual knowledge, gaining the knowledge of mantras also, doing lot of mantra sadhana, chanting, and that is actually the true side of this Mars which will later on come into play. Mars is the planet which also represents the Mangalya Sukh of any person. Mangalya Sukh is the marital bliss. That is why at the time of matchmaking in our Indian bedding system, we do whether the person is Manglik or a non-Manglik. So Mars represents that Mangalya Sukh. It also represents the sexual desires of the native. And that is the negative side of the Mars, the overindulgence into the sexual activities or taking into that area. Then Mars have the capacity to look for one partner, to second, to third, to just for satisfying the sexual desires. But if it is acting very positively, then this is going to become a devoted Mars. Now, when I use the word devoted here, I'm not saying like Mars is fully devoted only in the marriage. No. Malefic's first prime motive in the 6th house, whenever they are coming, is to offer the security or provide some sort of a security. And that is where the financial foundation is going to become very, very strong. Although it's not solely dependent over the one planet into the 6th house, but in most of the charts, you will see malefics have the capacity to tend to behave very positively. You even have the capacity to gain money through real estate also. Working as a real estate agent, full-time, part-time, or maybe doing anything related to Mars, technical, export, import also. So that have the capacity to give you that sense of security inside you. But this is the Mars which have the capacity to actually deliver most of the time positive results in Vedic astrology. So I hope you have gained some deep insights with regards to Mars placement in this video with me. If you are having any queries, any consultations, feel free to contact me at my email ID. If you require any other marriage, career, business, spiritual, any consultation, do let me know. I will try my best to get back to you as soon as possible. You can also send me super thanks if you find a small insight with regards to Mars placement. Any contribution from your side is going to make me more motivated, which will help me to make more such wonderful videos over Vedic astrology. You can also feel free to subscribe my channel below. Make sure to hit the like button if you really enjoyed this video. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'm going to meet you very, very soon in the next video. Till then, bye-bye and Hare Krishna.